that box cutter up here, which runs across the bottom there, is all leaking down there, and I'll show you why. So it's causing a few leaks there as well, so we're doing a few fixes, but we're going to concentrate on this today. And if you see, what happens is that roof changes to a split roof, and this roof's not running at a big slope, so they've put in the box cutter and it actually slopes slightly back. You can see there the water stain, so this is holding water up to there in winter. So if we get any decent rains, it's all overflowing there, and if we get any blocks there, so they've got a downpipe down that end. But when we look at it, they've put a round downpipe into a square box cover. It gets to fill to there anyway before it starts to leak out. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to take this box cutter, we're going to prop it up a little bit, see if we can't get a few more mils out of it. Then we're going to run it off that end there into a rain head, which will then run it down there into just onto the pavers, and later on he'll put in a drain just to connect it all up. All right, just a little tip: as you take sheets off, just number them so you know where to go. That way you know exactly where they go back to. Oh, this is number 1, that's number 2. Okay, so your first thing is clear the area, but you can see just how flat that is. So we're going to go with the 2-bit method. We're going to clear out the barge and take it straight over, and then just run it straight off. Okay, so that's the rain head that's going over the end, and we're just going to feed that into it to get the water away, but we're going to cut that barge off beforehand, otherwise there'll be a lift in the box cutter and it'll be absolutely pointless doing it. So you can see what's happened is the wood's actually rotted away here. It's been leaking. It's caused it to drop a bit. And normally we would actually worry about that. That's actually going to help. Because you can sit on the wall now. If you ever wonder why it's nice to get in and fix leaks, you can see there that the wood has deteriorated and rotted away. Whoop, I'm going to turn you upside down. Rotted away because of the excess water. Now, it's only the end beam, and this is sitting on the wall, so it actually drops a tiny bit, which, to be honest, is probably going to help us, because when I put in the extension here, it means that this end's actually going to drop a touch. So I'm not going to replace it, basically because then it becomes a massive $1,000 job, $2,000 job. Okay, so just quickly giving you an idea of what we've done there. You would have seen I put in the batten screws Now the reason I'm putting the batten screws is because that wood against that wall is rotten, so there really isn't anything holding it back there. So by putting in the backing screws, what I'm actually doing is kind of turning that into a gable end, and I'll put a nail in there. So I've come right back to here, and the idea is to take any weight that's on there and transfer it into the wall plate here, which allows me to support that without having to replace that wall plate down there. Look, not to code, I'm not going to lie to you, but we're doing maintenance, and there's a certain amount you allow in the way of budget. And when I say budget, I haven't given this guy a price, but if I start ripping all this out and doing that, it goes from like probably an $800 job to be honest with you, you're probably going to be pushing $4,000. So that's the way we're going to do it today. If in the future it's a problem, we can always come back and address it, but I think that'll give it another 30-40 years without it being a problem, as long as no water gets in there and rots any more wood away. Okay, so here's the little slip we've got made. Now you get that made by your supplier, he'll bend that all up for you. We measured it obviously off this, the existing, so when that goes in, just slip to the end and run the water off the end. That's how that's fitting in, and I would have liked it to be a slightly bit bigger, this flashing, but when we measured it, it's come out of time. So had to do a little bit of work on him. Okay, so when you look at that, all that is to stick the two box cutters together, but that will actually act as a gasket, and the key is to make that a solid line straight across. See how it's a solid? Because that'll squish in and create a gasket under there. See how that will work right now. There he is. Now the reason for the chisel behind there is because I don't want to drill through and into the wall, because that would just blunt that bit and it'd be absolutely useless. So that's the reason for the chisel, is just to put a bit of space between those two. So now it just becomes a case of, let's work it in, make sure there's nowhere for the water to escape through. I'm trying to keep that seam nice and low so it doesn't hold the water up. Okay, so there he is. And so we put it under, and I wanted it to ooze out because I want as little silicone in there as possible, because there's not a lot of fall. And the idea is I'm going to get that running down and away through there. That's the main reason. I've got to seal him still, so I'll seal that one. But if if you see there, you can see I've had to slightly do a deviation. It's not ideal. This was made probably 5 mils too small, but that's okay. We managed to work around it. All right, let's keep going. Retest this fall, hey? Yep, he's all running in the right direction. One there. So now we're just going to cut that section out the back and slide him on. Nice. So you'll see on the back I've got a little lip. Okay, and then for my final bit, that's pretty good, but I'm going to cut this like so, and a little bit off this. And then I'm going to bend this down. Okay, so all that's doing is as the water comes off here, it's going to fall into the rainhead, not run back along here and go back into the wood. So that's what that little drop down does. And what also happens is if it's very level, it'll pull the water off. So that's what we're going for. Now let's put a stitching screw in just to hold it all in place, so I'm not running around and I'm not worrying about it falling off. So there you can see he's been done. Okay, I just put these 2 little stitchings in to hold it. Also I'll seal those so they act as an extra hold. I'm going to put some plugs in, and I'll probably cut that down to be honest. And I'll put some plugs in it and then a downpipe down there, and you can see there's no obstruction stopping the water coming off. So that's what we're looking for, and the general idea is that it'll run away, unlike that end where you end up with an obstruction. Okay, get to it and I'll show you it at the end. There he is. He's all done. The ladder's a bit in the way. You can see what it is. The downpipe leads it down. Now I haven't put a rivet in that downpipe so he can move it a bit if he wants to do soak well. Just needs to get a pipe to connect to there. You can go up. Rainhead's in place. Put the little slip in. It's going to run off. You can see when you get down here, there's a little turn down, which runs it down into the downpipe down there. Now, theoretically, we should have a little hole in this in case it overflows down here. But seeing as we've got that downpipe down there, which does still work, I'm going to use that as kind of the overflow pipe. But this will be your primary way of the water running down. All right, I'll test it, and until I see you on the next video.